Hello tool users, today we're going to be discussing socket wrench sets, and that would cover sockets as well as ratchets. So we got a lot to go over today. Try to keep up. This is quite a bit of information. These are very, very useful tools for all different kind of applications. Fasteners on cars. You can use one like this right here, which is a swivel head, and you can use it to like drive bolts like this, or you can get some torque on it by turning it lengthwise like that. Ratchets come in various sizes. You'll have three typical sizes that most people are going to use. Let me get them lined up here and I will show you. So the one right here, this is a 1/4 inch. It's the smallest size. It's going to be used for like really intricate stuff or like tight corners, anything that is smaller. Then you have your normal, probably most useful size. If you're going to get one, you don't have anything else, get this 3/8 first. You know, you can get a set. It comes with sockets and the ratchet. Also, you want to make sure if you're getting a set, that has metric and standard. That way you can pretty much cover all bases. And this one here is a 1/2 inch. So if you'll notice the size difference in these. Let me get the little 1/4 inch here lined up. Basically what it is the bigger the bolt, the thicker you want this little square piece to be, so you don't break your ratchet, because it's going to take more force to tighten or loosen on a thicker bolt. So generally speaking, smaller stuff, like, give you an idea, you know, different sizes of sockets here. You know, this is for a 1/4 inch ratchet. This is tiny. This is really tiny. It you know, it goes on the ratchet like so, and then you turn it. So yeah, you can imagine you don't need much force to turn a bolt with a head that size. Whereas now this I brought out for demonstration purposes. Probably most of y'all are never going to use something like this. You know, homeowners, you know, people working on their own stuff. My table's on a little bit of a slant, sorry about that. But this socket here is designed for a 3/4 inch drive. Actually, no, that's 1 inch, my bad. So you can see the size difference in it, you know, compared to the 1/2 inch drive. Probably the highest most weekend warriors will go is 1/2 inch. Occasionally you'll have some people that need 3/4 inch stuff, but that's mostly on equipment. But you can see the various different sizes. You know, there's a range of applications that, you know, this would apply to. So ratchets come in various flavors. You know, like these two right here are both 3/8, but one has a flex head, meaning it can tilt, and the other does not. It's straight. So, you know, depending on how you're into a car or whatever you're working on, you may want that angle so you can reach the bolt head or the nut side or whatever. Along with these ratchets come extensions. These are handy for, you know, if you need to get into somewhere that's tight, you can put that on there and then put your socket on the end, and that'll reach further. They also come in various sizes. They fit all the major sizes, like I don't know, I've seen 1 inch extensions and 3/8 extensions and 1/4 inch extensions. They got it. If you need it, they probably got it. So now another variation of these ratchets is what's called a breaker bar. It actually doesn't have a ratcheting mechanism. They're not as useful. You know, some people use them. They work great if you're trying to like do like screwdriver type applications or whatever, but they're kind of on the way out. People don't really use them that often. Most people, the ratchet heads are so strong, they just get a really, really long, strong ratchet to break something loose. and then they can stay on the bolt and keep turning it. So now, sometimes when you're into a project, there's an amount of turn, which is called torque, that you have to apply to the bolt. And that'll be wrote in the manufacturer's recommendations and repair manuals. This is accomplished with what's called a torque wrench. This is that right here. Now, so you can turn this on. I don't know if it has any battery left on it. Yeah, it does. And then you can set this to a certain foot-pound of torque. You can change it. You know, right now it's at 30 foot-pounds. So when you turn this thing, it'll beep when you hit that torque. You know, it's got a 3/8 head. This is not to be used as a ratchet. It's not, you know, don't use that torque wrench in the same application you'd use this. Only use this for tightening bolts to a certain specification. That's it. That's what this tool is for. I know some of y'all have seen that in the store and probably like, what the hell is it? But anyhow, that's what that's for. Basically, you know, they're more expensive. They're calibrated. You're supposed to get them calibrated every so often so that you know you're actually turning it correctly. But you don't, you know, that's for applications that you don't want the bolt too loose or too tight. A tight bolt will break. A loose bolt will back out. So either is not good. You want it tightened just right. Now, most applications you can do it by feel with a ratchet. But when you're rebuilding engines or doing anything that's critical, you know, you got moving components that are moving at thousands of RPMs a second, or a minute rather, you want it to be accurate. You want it to be tightened down to the correct torque. So now sockets come in all different flavors as well. You got you know, swivel sockets. You know, this is for different access if you need to get in a corner. You know, you can get around stuff. It's really good for tight applications. You got well, let me show you what the main difference is that you need to be aware of. So you got this black socket and this chrome socket. So powered impact wrenches are designed to use these black sockets. They're made of a different metal that doesn't shatter as easy. When you put a chrome socket on one of those impacts, you take a chance of shattering the socket, and that could fly off and hit you and blind you or hurt yourself. Like, it's not safe to use a chrome socket on an electric impact or an air-powered impact. Many people do, but that's not the right way to do it. When you do that, buy the chrome or the black impact sockets. Now you'll notice that there's 12 points in here and 6 points in this socket. Some bolt heads have 12 points. Some have 6. Most have 6, actually. A lot of engine applications have 12. So you got to be aware when you're buying a set, what does it have? The 12 points are not going to grab on a 6-point sock or 6-point bolt as well as a 6-point socket. They have a tendency to slip more often, though they won't. You know, I've used them quite a bit. But that's just something to be aware of. However, a 6-point socket's not going to fit on a 12-point bolt head. It just won't. There's no way to get it loose without a 12-point socket. So there's some differences there. Now, one thing that goes hand in hand with sockets is a wrench. Typically what you'll do is you'll put your socket on one end. Hold on just a second with me. Your socket on one end with the ratchet there, and you'll hold a wrench on one side and then break it loose with the ratchet. Hold on just a second and I'll get you set up here. You know, like that right there. You'll get one hand on the ratchet, one hand on the wrench, and that's how you hold the other side to keep it from just spinning all the time. So that's something to be aware of there. You know, wrenches go hand in hand. Always keep a set of wrenches with your sockets. You know, they got different sizes. You know, like this is an Allen head socket. You know, this is a specialty socket for wheel bearings on Fords. You know, they got all different kind of applications. You got swivel sockets that adapt to regular sockets, you know, kind of like this one, but this one's built in. This little piece right here you can use with any 3/8 socket. So then you got star bits. Torques is also what they're called. You know, these are used to hold in seat belts a lot. You know, if you're replacing a seat belt in a car, typically this is what you're going to see holding it on. You know, they have different size lengths. You may have a application where you need to have a shallow socket or a long socket. You know, if you are only buying one set, I'd probably advise getting the long socket. It's just easier to get on most things. If you can, buy both. There is sets out there that come with both. That's probably my best advice. You'll never really run into too many things you can't get loose. Then they also have these adapters that go from one size to the next. So you can fit, this is a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. So you could go from a 3/8 ratchet to a 1/2 inch socket if you needed to for whatever reason. Sometimes, you know, room will dictate that you do that. Maybe your set doesn't have the right size and you have to do that. Now the last thing I'd like to talk about here, it's kind of a funny set. It is useful in some applications. This is called a through ratchet set. And if you'll look, there's a hole right there in the ratchet. There's also holes all the way through these sockets. I don't know if I can get it open or not. Here's an extension, but there you go. So in some very small applications, this is useful versus a wrench. One thing I can say is, like, for adjusting valves in a car engine, this is useful. You can get the screwdriver right through them. It makes adjusting valves easier. But that's about it. Let's wrap up. Thank you for watching, tool users. Have a good day.